Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for September 21st, 2019. With your host, Spacebreaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
Certain events this week have made me swear off gacha games. I've been using an emulator to play a few different games. And I lost access to my accounts on 2 games. And both of those games I kind of like playing. So I've kind of sworn off gacha games because I'm kind of tired of them.
I can understand.
Between them not being that difficult and just not being able to play with what I want. Because gacha. I've just been like, fuck this. I'm tired of this. It's made me miss, like, the Facebook game Marvel Avengers Alliance. Because in that game, you got to play with the characters you wanted. You just earned them, or you just grinded enough of, like, a not paid for current, or, yeah, you grinded enough to either just outright buy them, or you got ones from limited time events, and that was it. There was no banner, there was no pull, there was none of that bullshit. It was just, earn your character and get to play as them. That was it. I miss that. I also miss having to think while playing these games because I don't have to think while playing any of these fucking mobile games I play that are gachas. So yeah, that's been part of what I've been playing this week. 01 Raw was good this week. We got plenty of Daybreak information from the looks of it.
Well done.
Also had the debut. Well, I say kind of the debut of Kamen Rider Hirobi. He kind of showed up at the end. We didn't see the transformation. We just saw that, oh, they do have the drivers already and have the gear. And they've had them for a while. Which makes me go, oh, that's why you're not hiding these. Because it's not going to be, like, in the context of the show, new. But no, it looked like 01 was good this week. Secret Identity's kind of out of the cards now.
I figured that'd be soon.
Yeah, Alter just revealed himself to Vulcan, just being like, "Hi, by the way, I'm 01." And they seem to be on decent terms. Granted, I saw somebody in Discord be up, like, kind of just like, oh, wow, this character's not going to change that much, is he? And I'm like, we are at 4 goddamn episodes so far. Calm down. It's okay if this man, who has literally been traumatized by having a horde of Humagears try to murder him as a kid, maybe he's not ready to get over that.
I feel like that argument is bad on, or not the argument, the statement that was made was bad on a misunderstanding of how the writing needs to go.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have a different mindset on him. And the reason I say that is because of the fact of we have 3 different viewpoints. Until we start getting that whole cross viewpoints from everyone where it's like, okay, well, I see what they're saying, then we're not really doing anything. Right now, we're just setting up the backstories for everyone.
Yeah. His hatred for Humagears is his flaw. that's the central thing of his character arc, is getting over his hatred of human gears and learning to accept them.
Well, I think it's that, and also maybe teaching Otaru that, maybe not all of them are buddy material. That some of them might actually be just, that's how they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's that lesson that until we see that, neither character is going to change.
Yeah. It's 4 episodes in. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay that the characters haven't moved yet. We're at episode 4. We're getting plot development right now. It's okay. Calm down. Kota's character arc, I don't think, moved that much this early.
Truthfully, all of Gaim's character arcs didn't really move until we broke past, 10 or 11?
Yeah, until we were past, I think, the Christmas episodes, we were kind of in a holding pattern for them because it was story stuff. And then in came character development after Christmas.
I mean, I hope we get it a little earlier, but at the same time, that's stuff that needs to be worked towards, not just, oh, here's the character. Oh, here, now they're face turning.
Yeah. And it seems like it happened a little bit. Like, we see a bit of a softer side of Vulcan this week.
And I think it's those little touches that we need to see of that until... Which, bear in mind, I've not seen the Raw, but in light of that, I'm like, yeah, that's the little touches we need to see. We need to be able to see now, okay, I see what the writers are trying to do. Not be like, well, he hasn't changed.
I am still so worried about tomorrow with Forza. To be frank, I like Forza. Is it a perfect show? No. It has its flaws, mainly due to the fact of everyone's got a gimmick, and they kind of stick to that gimmick the entire show. So if you do not like any of these gimmicks, you're going to be sick of these characters by not too long. Okay, not necessarily gimmicks, but ticks. That if you get tired of those ticks, you are probably not going to enjoy these characters for very long then. It also doesn't help that Forza has, I believe, the largest supporting cast for a writer in just about any series. I think the only one that comes close is Drive. And I think Forza is 2 up from Drive supporting cast. But I bring it up because I watched the episodes today. And again, I like it. I like Gentro and his absolute brute force, happy, you are my friend. We will be friends. Friendship will solve everything. Nature. The biggest comparison I can make is Luffy from One Piece. Yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow to see how you take the first 4 episodes. See if we're in for a rough ride or not. Anyway, what have you been playing this past week? Or past couple weeks?
I'm thinking the only thing that I have played that we haven't done stream-wise has been Starlink. And I have to say, probably the best Star Fox game we're gonna have for the Switch. I hate saying that, but that's probably the truth. Especially with there being like 0 word of any kind of Star Fox coming to the Switch. Outside of, I guess you gotta say Switch Online stuff, because VC's not correct now.
SNES Online has the original Star Fox.
That's why I said outside of.
Yeah.
I guess you have to say Switch Online stuff now.
Yeah.
Because VC is not correct technically, because it's not Virtual Console.
I realized Thursday my subscription ran out, so I had to re-up it. Because I booted up Fire Emblem, and I'm like, why do I not seeing the distributions of player choices? Check Switch Online subscription. Oh, it ran out. Oh, I need to re-up that real quick. Oops.
Oops.
I knew it ran out this week because it's the 1-year anniversary, and I believe I bought mine day 1.
Probably. I can't remember when mine was supposed to run out. I just went ahead and added another year when I had it, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, and trying to figure out what is causing lag with Minecraft with the mod, which I think we finally figured that out.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of fun. Although, like, I'm curious about that because the updates I see on YouTube for the mod have all of the armors fairly close to each other and about the same similar setup. And he doesn't have the kind of lag issues we have.
Could just be different systems.
Probably.
I do know some of my added lag, which when we go to try it again, I'm going to try with the Linux one, but I've been running Minecraft through Wine more so because of the fact that I knew that it was letting you connect to me, so I didn't want to try to fix what isn't broken kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I'm not technically running Minecraft native to the system. So that could be some of my lag. But why was it lagging on yours?
On mine, on a solo instance.
Uh-huh. And like I said, it seemed kind of funny. I put the Geo armor on the stand, and it was immediately dropping frames. It wasn't enough to treat it as lag, but it was immediately enough for me to be like, whoa. I almost wonder if that's something that maybe we're the only ones that have actually been dumb enough to try to do something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if if putting all of the goddamn suits in a fucking line is the dumbest thing anyone's attempted with this fucking mod so far. And I refuse to stop. I want to change it, but I refuse to stop until they're all there.
What I might have to do is just start a... Well, no, I can hop into my solo one that I had and see if different things make a different outcome, like having them on different levels.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like I said, the lag that I was having on the other server we were doing was even above ground. It was just generally looking at that area.
Yeah, that's how mine is. That's why I have to N64 speed run it by literally not looking at it to move.
I wonder, have we tried checking that without the map mod and without the just enough items?
No.
Because you were saying that you wondered how the video had them lined up like that and it didn't show any lag. That might be the case. It might not be the mod itself. It might be the stuff that's hooking to the mod.
That's likely, because he just used creative mode for his stuff.
Which, you do realize if that's the case, then some documentation is seriously needed.
Yeah. It's almost like I've done more documentation for this fucking mod than anybody in the goddamn Discord has at this point.
Either that or just everyone's doing their own documentation.
Yeah. I have brute force tried to figure out how to get every goddamn form, and I've even figured out that they solved a way to get both of the Wizard Infinity or the Wizard All Dragon forms. Because you remember how we have two of them?
Yeah.
Technically? Well, one of them is using the proper ring, which I believe is the one from Magic Land, the non-gold variation. The gold variation, though, is just from the special ring. It's how they solve that issue, but both all dragon forms for Infinity are in the mod, and so are both all dragon forms for regular Flame Dragon. Granted, both of those were easy enough. Like, one is just the dragon timer. The other is the proper ring from Ultimatum. Although I believe none of them have fly.
Which is dumb.
It's just... That is like the 8th or 9th different form at this point that I've hit that I'm like, no, this form fucking flies. Give this form fucking flying. For fuck's sakes. Come on. Do not make me fucking start complaining. You are so accurate at times for everything else. Why is it so hard to put flying on like all of these different forms that actually have flying built into them?
And I mean, I could see if it was a case of like none of the forms had flying because the creator didn't want to basically have any of the forms be cheating kind of deal. Because bear in mind, we have found out a very big exploit in terms of grinding enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, when the enemies can't fly and you can fly above them and shoot them, yeah.
But considering that one of those forms requires all of the red core metals, and the other one I still have no idea how the fuck you get. Is it that big of a problem?
I don't think flying really is. But I do want to also mention, as far as all the red core metals, we have a copy of all three.
Yeah.
Outside of the 3 that I got.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that hard to get the Tajador combo. That's why I'm like, I could understand if none of the forms had flying. Be one of those kind of remove that exploit. But the simple fact that some of them, especially an easy one to get, does, it's like, yeah, should have done it to all of them that fly.
Yeah. For me, I did try out a Metabots game on DS, just because I wanted to get DS emulation up and running for the next follower goal I'm thinking of, which is the first All Riders generation game for DS. Which is just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. I would like to do the third one, but because it has the most extensive roster. But that's a 3DS one, and that gets back to getting 3DS emulation to work and getting the fucking ROM, which was a nightmare in of itself already.
And 3DS does not have as extensive of a compatibility list.
Yeah.
So chances are, even if you did get all the parts, then you would take a chance of it, 1, not running, or 2, running at like 5 FPS because it is something that hasn't been tested.
Yeah, because like I said before, like I would love to do Traveler Senkai for a stream or a series of streams, because that game looks pretty cool, and it's a crossover of Double through to Gaim with an actual original story in the supporting cast of all four shows before Gaim in it. But would need a Japanese 3DS and 3DS capture device to stream it properly if I wasn't through emulation. And I don't think you can even get a 3DS capture device anymore at the moment.
Probably not anymore, because the Switch kind of become the new 3DS.
Well, the guy who did it, I think he's out of business at the moment, so yeah.
Well, like I said, it kind of also probably comes into the fact of, the Switch is the new 3DS.
Yeah. But yeah, the Metabots game I think is 5. Anyway, it felt like I was playing the GBA one, but slightly better looking. And I have found out that I don't care for Metabots gameplay. Because the best way to describe Metabots gameplay is you have 1 to 3 Metabots. At the start of combat, you pick 1 of 3 moves. One of those moves has a limited number of uses. The other 2 do not. They run forward till they hit the midline of this dodgeball arena, essentially. When they reach that middle of that area, they will target the enemy and they will fire. When they fire, they will hit 1 of 4 areas on the enemy Metabot. It does not matter what happens to either arms or the legs. If you blow those up, you either slow down the enemy if you blow up their legs, or you take away one of their 2 other weapons with the arms. You have to blow up the head in order to completely destroy them. Bear in mind that targeting is random. Okay, I will put in quotes random, because I believe a couple of weapons specifically target certain factors. I think one of Metabee's weapons targets the highest health meta part. But again, you don't have direct control of where you're firing. So all you're doing is picking a move and waiting. And you do a lot of waiting in this combat. It was so much that I literally hit the speed up button every time after every time I pick the move. I just hit the speed up button. Because time freezes when you're picking your move, so you're not in a rush to pick a move. This isn't like ETB stuff from Final Fantasy. So yeah, even though early on I got a second Metabot, since I was playing the Metabee version, the other one I got, which is essentially the sailor schoolgirl Metabot, her weapons are the exact same as Metabee's, except her limited one is just increase accuracy, so you don't miss as often. It literally means I'm not doing anything different. And even if I change out parts, which I didn't really have any new parts that were better than the parts I already have, what's the point of that? If I'm literally curve stomping everything with just the basics, why change? I'm not really getting any better at this point.
Very true.
I was so bored, I quit. And it makes me go, I know there's a Metabots mobile game coming out this fall. If it does not have better gameplay than this, and I will be done after just trying it. because I am so bored by this combat. It is literally the most boring thing in the world. I went back to Astral Chain for a little bit, played some of the challenge mode stuff, just to get materials to see if I could upgrade stuff. The air conditioning just now got fixed, so I'm in more of a mood to actually play stuff and not just go, oh my god, it's hot, I don't want to do anything. I can't really think of anything else. I got a couple of monitor risers coming in tomorrow. It's more or less just, here's a small plastic table for you to put your monitors on, so you can put stuff under your monitors. They're like $20 for a 2-pack on Amazon, is the ones I got. And I think they're like slightly adjustable, so you can like raise it or lower it a couple inches. I'm mainly getting it for desk space, because like my monitors are at a good height, so I don't have to worry about that. I mainly just want some like extra space to slide stuff under and like clean up my desk a little bit. I was surprised they were coming in tomorrow because I literally just ordered them yesterday. I was like, wow, that's a fast turnaround. Thank you. Especially since I went to Staples and got a new chair to replace my old chair, and I'm really liking my new chair. Outside of, I need a headrest or something that's on like a strap to put on the back of the chair, because there's not enough like forward resting place. Weird terminology. I need something to rest my head that's further up than where the chair is at the moment. That's the only downside. Yeah, but that's practically it for me. Shall we talk articles?
I guess we shall.
All right, first up, shoutouts to Giant Bomb for making me aware of this article. I've been listening to their podcast, like different segments of their podcast that I've been interested in. I would not know about this if it wasn't for their podcast. So, you know how E3 this year was actually kind of empty, attendance-wise?
Yeah.
Well, the ESA have decided to revamp E3. Would you care to guess what their ideas are?
What?
Oh boy. There are 27 slides here of their presentation. Some of the highlights, activity domes, where more or less paid celebrities will get to be in these activity bubbles for you to play games with. While you're standing in line, you will get advertisements blared at you while you're standing in line. And also trying to get good, essentially earn and bank, what's the word I'm looking for? Goodwill in advance in case they fuck up. Like those are some of the highlights here. It is wonderful, especially some of this fucking advertisement speak. I'll read this one. It's panel 11 or page 11 on the PowerPoint presentation. E3 will create experience events and PR moments alongside attendees' guided journeys that drive excitement. These on-floor activations will be themed and branded, providing exhibitors an opportunity to sponsor, underwrite major cultural moments. Sample activations. Select LA Lakers playing a basketball video game on the floor before thousands of fans, and the media gathering incredible buzz for the title in E3. Sample activation. Leading actors competing in video game tournaments. Q-tainment. Q-tainment will enable marketing to attendees in line. Consumers will be able to purchase day passes for Wednesday and Thursday instead of 3-day badges. An E3 app will encourage booth scheduling to ease lines and congestion. Q-tainment. That is a fucking buzzword if I've ever fucking heard one, and I love it. This is so dumb. Fucking Q-tainment. I love this. I wish more sites were reporting on this because this is so goddamn dumb. Because for reference, the reason they're doing this is if you look at the tweet up top that lists the attendance for the major game conventions for this goddamn year, guess who's at the bottom with nowhere close to the same numbers? E3 with less than 100,000 attendees.
Well, it's because, and we've noticed it too, it's not a case so much of people don't want to go to it, it's a case of they don't need to go to it.
Yeah.
Because most of the thrill of going to it was getting the information firsthand.
Which, with every site reporting on it, is pointless now.
Yeah. When every site is reporting on it, when every streaming service is streaming it, what's the point?
Like, at that point, you're going to maybe get to play demos of this games, which might not be the case considering lines.
And on top of that, might not be the case because might not be ready as far as demos. And case in point, everyone was fully expecting to see something from Metroid Prime 4. We got nothing.
Yeah.
We still have nothing. I mean, one of those stuff like that is a little bit of a problem too.
Yeah. And Giant Bomb noticed this, that like most of their time at E3 is usually at press day, which is more or less just going from meeting from like to not necessarily behind just closed doors meetings, but like upstairs, like office meetings to just talk to developers, talk to publishers, just talk about their stuff, play the demos there, and then they're done. They don't even have to be on the showroom floor.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of we literally have no reason to be on the showroom floor. And I think they even said that they were done in like 2 days, and they were done with E3 in 2 days. And I was just like, yeah, E3's just gotten a whole lot smaller.
Yeah. And I mean, some people want to blame it on like Nintendo and how they introduced the Nintendo Directs, but really that's not the case.
No. That just seemed like a natural.
Just realized that to stay relevant, they're going to have a lot of content throughout the year, so that's where the directs came in to help give them outlets for that.
Yeah.
And as a result, it just felt natural that since they were given little information throughout the year, why have an E3 press conference when they can just do a direct there?
Yeah. Why wait 3 months to tell you about a game when we can put together a video package telling you about the game right now? Along with several other games.
And I mean, to be fair, look from the start of the Wii U to where we're at now, that shift has helped.
Yeah.
Now, granted, do I think Nintendo's approach needs to work with Microsoft and Sony? Not really.
Like, well, too bad. We're
both of them would probably still benefit from the traditional hold it all back till E3, let it all out.
Well, Microsoft has had a not so good presentation at Gamescom. That this is kind of boring and not interesting. And by the way, there's a Sony Direct next week.
Sony's trying to copy Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sony don't need to do that. When it comes down to it, yeah, Nintendo's making a turnaround again, but until Microsoft and Sony both completely falter, they're still gonna hold more weight than Nintendo.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, them copying, I feel like is gonna be where that downfall is gonna start coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well, shall we talk about some news coming out of Tokyo Game Show?
I guess TGS can talk about TGS.
Yep. So, you remember Death Stranding, right? The new Kojima game from his own studio.
Yeah.
Well, we had a 50-minute demo at TGS this year. With an additional 20-minute demo the next day, or on the day after this demo debuted. So, do you want me to describe what this gameplay looks like? And you can probably scrub through the video for some gameplay tidbits.
Sure.
So, did you like the just going from point to point in Breath of the Wild or in any open world game and just finding what you can stumble across on and like do that and just do stuff?
Yeah.
What if that was the entire game? What if the entire game was you are more or less a delivery man going from location to location to location, from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States, or the United Cities of America. Sorry, not the United States, the United Cities of America in this game. And you're just hooking up a network along the way while you carried around your luggage and also had to balance yourself every time you walked. And you also had a shoe meter that you had to worry about.
Why?
And you also had to worry about how much you were carrying and what you're carrying and where you're carrying it.
Why?
And also had to worry about where you're walking. And also had to worry about the magic space baby that connects you to the world of the dead in case you run into fucking monsters and they try to eat you and cover you in tar and kill you. Look, this game is fucking nonsense, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg with this fucking game. There's more. There is certainly more, and I highly encourage anyone to go watch Giant Bomb's reactions to this demo that was translated by IGN Because bear in mind, this is not translated, I don't believe. But yeah, Giant Bomb watched the translated version from IGN, and I have never seen so many people on their staff go from, oh, I'm kind of interested in this game, to, I don't know if I want to play this game anymore. This is literally the AAA UPS delivery fucking micromanage to fucking hell systems the game. And I can't help but sit here and go, were you surprised that Kojima made something really wacky and fucking out there, considering his track record with Metal Gear, where he was restrained by being under a developer that required him to make a fucking, like, to make an actual game? That is him restrained. This is him unrestrained because he's his own goddamn boss now. Why is anyone surprised?
I guess because they figured that he would have someone that would tell him, this is nuts.
I say again, he's his own goddamn boss now. There is no one to tell him no.
But when you have when you have the mind to come up with something crazy like this, you also need to have the mindset to have someone under you that can tell you you're an idiot.
To tell you, no, this is not fun. This is not a fun thing.
Or at least that one person to be like, oh, so you're a mailman, right?
More or less.
Because I guarantee it to you, if that statement came up, that would be a case of, oh, crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, there's different structures and stuff you can leave behind, like bridges across gaps and ladders to cross gaps and bikes and stuff. And those have likes, and you can like them to give something to the player that left them to start with.
I don't.
And yes, they are. Yes, those are. It's actual likes. I'm not kidding when I say it's like. No, it is literally likes. There are even markers you can leave, a la Dark Souls, for various things. What else? What's another highlight? The one good thing it does, you know how in most games you have a waypoint system that just is put a waypoint here and you're done?
Yeah.
What if you could, like, make a trail of waypoints? That's like the one good thing this game does. Is just like, all right, I want to get from here to here, and I want to plot a course. So I put various markers along a line, and I can follow that line of markers. That's like the one good thing this fucking demo did. It's shown. It's like, this is a good idea. More games should have this. The rest of this, no. Fucking no.
Don't you love how a good idea in a bad game never gets used because it came from a bad game?
Yeah.
And I hate to call it a bad game this early, but yeah.
Like, I get it. Kojima is a capital A auteur game developer. This game, it looks like fucking utter nonsense on the story and character front that I can't even begin to describe what the fuck the story and characters of this goddamn game are. The gameplay does not look fun at all, really. Because to quote, I believe Jeff Gertzman on his reactions of, this game looks like it's all of the like ancillary things from other games as the game, instead of like, this is just the surrounding material around the core mechanics. No, this walking around, just going from place to place, that's the core mechanic. That's it. Combat is even optional. Is like super optional and you can fucking avoid it. So yeah, that's Death Stranding, folks. I hope you're all excited. I'm not. I guess we can talk about better news now?
Like something besides Death Stranding?
Yeah, we have Project Resistance, a new Resident Evil game that's a 4v1 multiplayer game. More or less, you have a team of 4 survivors that all have different abilities that are trying to escape this area. And they are against one person who can set a bunch of traps and zombies and stuff in their way, and can also take direct control of zombies and attack the players and stop them from escaping. This actually looks pretty decent. Like, this looks like an asymmetrical multiplayer game that looks pretty good, because we've been trying those for the last couple of years and none of them have really taken off. And I think this might be the one that could take off, because every character is a bit different, and the solo player even has a lot of different stuff that they can do. Like, it seems like if you were to try to do an asymmetrical multiplayer with, like, or you took the Left 4 Dead multiplayer idea and expanded upon the infected side of things and made the character side of the survivors a bit more unique and a bit more, like, different from each other. Also, yes, you can play as Mr. X, I think, towards the end of a match if they make it that far. But we got a closed beta next month, so we will be getting impressions then. How do you feel about this? This also came out of TGS. This is probably the only other major thing to come out of Tokyo Game Show, to be honest.
I don't really know, because, I mean, I'm not too big on Resident Evil, so...
Yeah. I think the only other thing was a new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, and boy, that told me nothing about that DLC. Except, here's some new cutscenes, here's maybe new gameplay. Or no, here's, like, potential new gameplay without any context for how that gameplay is accessed or whatnot. So, yeah. Still waiting on that DLC so I can stream Kingdom Hearts 3. Anything else?
No.
Alright, we have a bit of weird news. Luigi's Mansion 3 is getting some paid multiplayer DLC. No details yet, I believe, on this multiplayer. But essentially, it will be... It'll be new DLC for the Scare Scraper and the Scream Park multiplayer modes. So I'm guessing new maps and stuff. I just found this weird of all the things to get DLC, fucking Luigi's Mansion 3 was not one of them. Like, we got some general details about the last half of the season pass DLC for Fire Emblem. That's just, here's some new outfits, new classes, new maps, and new story stuff. but no big details. So how do you feel about Luigi's Mansion 3 getting DLC?
I mean, I guess that's probably a good thing. That way the game can stick around more relevant for everyone, but I don't know so much about whether or not multiplayer DLC would be the better option.
Yeah. Well, we got a little bit more uplifting news, and then the ability to continue to talk about Pokemon every week. Farfetch'd has his evolution. It is Surfetched, which is just a straight fighting type. He has dropped his normal flying dual typing for straight fighting. And his leak has been broken in half to give him a lance and a shield, and he is a handsome motherfucker. This is a very handsome duck. That, unfortunately, is exclusive to Sword at the moment. So, guess what version is getting all of the copies now?
Yep.
How are you liking Surfetched?
I kind of like you.
I'm not gonna lie, I do too. The only weird thing is we don't have details on how he evolves. Or how this evolution is accomplished. All we know is that is accomplished through combat. And that's kind of it. And it's just in a general sense of Farfetch'd that go through many battles evolve into Surfetched. So still no whole lot of details mechanically speaking. But I'm kind of excited. Sword was already I was leaning towards Sword already because of the Legendary. This might just seal it for me. Especially, if I could transfer my Farfetch'd that I had from all the way back on Fire Red and evolve it into this. Granted, I'll be getting a Farfetch'd in game and evolving it into Surfetch'd, and that's on my team. I'm calling it. I'll take it. But I'm still going to evolve the other one, most likely. Whenever Pokemon Home gets up and running next year. In tangential news, kind of. I don't really have an article for this because there's not really an article necessary for this. Have you kept up with the Sun and Moon anime at all? Or any news related to it?
Some news related to it, yes.
Oh, so you know what happened this past weekend, then?
Yes.
For reference, Ash has finally won a Pokemon League. He won the Alolan League.
Wow. Okay. He has finally won an actual official Pokemon League one.
Yes. An official Pokemon League that is actually attached to a game instead of, just the Orange Island Leagues, which he's had one forever. Or the fact that he got, what was it in Emerald? The Battle Frontier he conquered? And, he qualified to be a Frontier Brain, but turned it down?
Yeah. I think that was the two that it mentioned in the article.
Yeah.
I just found it funny that it's everyone's saying he's a loser, but technically, no.
Okay, I've had this discussion with my neighbor from back in college. Look at the big picture of Ash's accomplishments over the course of the entire anime. He is one of the most decorated trainers probably in the goddamn world. And the fact that he accomplished that with almost a brand new team every goddamn year has to be that's Hall of Fame worthy. That is literally an actual Pokemon competition Hall of Fame worthy career.
Yeah.
But I do have to agree with what somebody said on Twitter of, this feels like this should have been last year with X and Y. Because X and Y was really building towards this moment, and they chickened out at the last second and gave him second place. He really should have had it last year. I kind of have to agree with that. Because it felt like he should have earned it then. But the fact that they finally have, like, given up and said, fine, he won a league. Are you happy? I'm like, good. Good. Give this child a league. He deserves it. Granted, I wonder if doing it now plays into what we talked about last week with the Pokemon anime.
Probably.
The fact that it might be going more anthology-based, which is probably for the best. Like, you've built several dozen worlds at this point. It's okay to be more anthology-based and kind of checking back in with different characters. But that's all we really got this week. Nothing super big otherwise, I feel like. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I can't really think of anything that I've noticed.
I don't really think of anything either, actually.
It's more release season since the new Legend of Zelda came out yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll admit, it still looks good.
And I
I've heard
forgot
a lot.
until there was a Twitch news thing pointing to demos again. And I forgot that Ori is coming to the Switch.
Yeah, it's coming out in the next couple weeks because that's in the release. It's in the releases.
Yeah.
That's John's O game right now. Which, by God, that game looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize enough that, like, the gameplay is still good, but by God, that game is gorgeous. Like, there's something that needs to be said of there's real benefit from just going with an art style.
To be fair, like I said,
Like, I know realistic is an art style, but realism doesn't age well with technology.
Not at all.
It really doesn't.
Case in point, Twilight Princess.
Yeah. Or any Call of Duty game. Call of Duty hasn't aged well graphically for some of its entries.
Not surprising.
But yeah, they're like finding a different art style that can really age well is just like, because Okami is like several years old at this point, and it still looks so goddamn good. That is a PS2 game. PS2 game. We are 2 generations removed from that, and Okami still looks gorgeous.
I mean, technically you could say 3, because I doubt anything else is coming out before PS5.
Yeah. But still, like, Okami is that old, and it still looks gorgeous. Anyway, speaking of things that are coming out, releases. This is where I have to usually grab a drink because, oh boy, do we have a lot of releases. Like a lot. Like, I believe 2.5 pages. I'm willing to call that 2.5 pages. Okay, so we are kicking off on the 23rd with Oliver's Adventure in the Fairyland for Switch. And on the 24th, we have Owl, the Somnium Files Day 1 edition for PlayStation 4 and Switch. Color Slayer for PlayStation 4 and Vita. Contra Rogue Core for Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch. Dead by Daylight Definitive Edition for Switch, that just got Stranger Things DLC. I've seen it streamed from a couple of people I follow. That is a surprisingly still active game. It's another asymmetrical multiplayer game. 4 people play as survivors. 1 person plays as the killer. You try to essentially get a bunch of generators up and running to open a door and escape. All the while, the killer tries to knock you down, put you up on these hooks for you to be sacrificed. It looks pretty decent. We also have Dreaming Canvas for PlayStation 4, Inspire 1 VR Operative for PlayStation 4, FIFA 20 Ultimate Edition for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Boxia for PlayStation 4 and Vita, Hitman 2 Haven Island DLC for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast for the Switch, and The Surge 2 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. On the 25th, we have a Constructor Plus for Xbox One, Flying Girl Striker for Switch, Rex Rocket for Xbox One, and Sally's Law for Xbox One. And on the 26th, we have Bad North Jotun Edition for Switch, Barry Bradford's Panic Party for Switch, Button Up for Switch, Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition for Switch, Fight and Rage for Switch, Fishing Star World Tour for Switch, Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Adventure IX for PlayStation 4 and Switch. That's apparently pretty good. Granted, it's another Gunvolt game, and those have been pretty good. Harbuxia for Switch, Northgard for Switch, Rage 2, Rise of the Ghost DLC for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and Reaper, Tale of a Pale Swordsman for Switch. On the 27th, we have Car Mechanic Simulator Pocket Edition for Switch, Code Vein for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That is the Souls-like anime game, essentially, that I think we've talked about before. I know I've seen it several times. We also have Dragon Quest 1, 2, 3, and 11S all coming to Switch, or 11S Definitive Edition coming to Switch, FIFA 20 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, Fight and Rage for Xbox One, Freedom Finger for Switch, Mining Rail 2 for Xbox One, Missplosion Man for Switch, Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition coming to Switch, Tesla Guard for Switch, Tropica 6 El Perez Edition for PlayStation 4, and The Adventure of Elena Temple for Xbox One. And on the 29th, we have Paper Train for the Switch. And on the 30th, we have Chop and Dish for the Switch, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, Expansion 1, Curse of the Vampire for Switch. I have kind of lost interest in Ultimate Alliance 3, to be honest. I'd have to see how this DLC is for me to even remotely be interested.
To be fair, I can understand that.
Like, they just now went, oh, the costumes we had originally in the game were kind of bad. Here's a bunch of free costumes that are good. Like, literally, that's happened the last few weeks, and I'm like, oh, you are way too late to this. Starting our October releases on the 1st, we have 80 Days for Switch, Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, and Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and that should be right around when they start their free-to-play stuff. I believe it's with the release of Shadowkeep that they're starting free-to-play. I think, if I'm remembering right. The vague details I've heard offhand is that's when it should start.
Well, that might give us something to do then.
Yeah, because I believe the free-to-play gives you everything through, like, year 1, essentially. Which means you get the not great year of Destiny 2 with all the improvements I think they've made. So probably a better experience than launch. Anyway, we also have Lintrium.
I don't know if I fully agree with that statement, but okay.
What?
About Destiny 2.
Not having a not so great first year?
Because I thought Destiny 2 had a good start, but it was a bad after.
Destiny 2, I believe, from what I've heard, it started good if you did not do like the Taken King from Destiny 1. So it was up if you were like pre-Taken King, but it's down if you were post-Taken King.
Then that explains why I kind of felt like it was better than where Destiny 1 landed.
Yeah, it was one of those cases of if you stuck with Destiny, it felt like it regressed in places. But if you didn't stick with Destiny, it felt like you improved in places because, it still had some of those improvements coming off of Destiny 1, but it also had some not so good improvements from Destiny 1. Which is why Destiny 2's first year is kind of a mixed bag. And also still not good. It took, again, for them to hit their Taken King-like expansion for them to really take off. And now that they are out from under EA and on their own, or not EA, out from under Activision, mind you, and on their own, maybe it'll be for the better. Maybe it won't be cyclical anymore.
I think it'll probably be for the better.
Yeah. I still have the question of, okay, how many of these problems were Bungie, and how many problems were Activision, and how many problems were both? Because just because Activision's out from control of this does not mean that everything's fixed now, because some of these problems could just be Bungie.
And what's bad is, from seeing Bungie's past, I can't even now say that, maybe it was Activision, because of the simple fact of a lot of the people from Halo Bungie are not there anymore. So... Yeah.
But back to releases, we've got Lantrium for Switch, Neverwinter Uprising for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Planetscape Torrent Enhanced Edition, Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition for Collector's Pack for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, Ready Set Heroes for PlayStation 4, Roman Rumble Lost in Las Vegas, Asterix and Obelix XXL2 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. What is this grab bag of nonsense words? What is this title? What is this? I must know.
A thing.
Apparent. I love that the first result is fucking Metacritic. That's probably not good.
Probably not.
Adventure game of some kind? Anyway. We also have Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition for Switch, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint for Gold Edition for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. A Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of the World of This World Day 1 Edition for PlayStation 4 and Switch. And on the 2nd, we have As Divine Camera for Xbox One, and We Were Here Too for Xbox One. And on the 3rd, we have Candlemans for Switch, Case and Matronics for Switch, Cubix for Switch, Vault Milestone 1 for Switch, Galaxy Champions TV for Switch, Hexagroove Tactical DJ for Switch, and NeoCab for Switch. And on the 4th, we have Crossing Plus for Switch, Ghostbusters, the video game remaster for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. That is a good game, by the way, folks. I highly encourage you to go play that remaster. This is the 3D Ghostbusters game that came out a few years ago. I played it. I really enjoyed it. It's also a good co-op game because I believe it's co-op. I believe it's co-op. I might be wrong on that. I might be misremembering it. It's a good single-player game, at least. We also have One Night Stand for Switch, Slab Well for Xbox One, The Tiny Bang Story for Switch, and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And on the 5th, we have Double Switch 25th Anniversary Edition for the Switch. Which takes us to Quick Draws, and I get to talk about Soto, and it does not break the stream. Maybe.
Possibly.
So instead of using... Yeah, so far so good. So instead of using the Bandai Candy Toy blog post, we'll be using the translated versions done by Molinus via the Tokusatsu Network. This is the latest one that isn't the one that got released today that is only on the blog. And this blog post is the third of the 01 material, so they're showing off Vulcan and also showing off that he doesn't have a lot of stickers. Trying to see which image was the comparison shot. It's the last one in the first batch. Is the really nice comparison that shows for these Soto is a 4-inch figure line for Rider that's been going the last few years. And you can see that the unstickered version has just about every detail you want. There's not a whole lot of stickering you have to do on Vulcan. And 01 is just like this. He does not have a lot of stickering to and the rest of those details are painted details. Like the picture before it, you can see a up-close shot of the head. And see that like most of it is painted. In Vulcan, they even give you 2 different shot risers. They give you one to put on the belt and one to hold. And everything can fit on the stand, including, because of how Vulcan breaks down, of the other arm and leg of the shooting wolf form. Because of how this breaks down, the arm and leg, or the right arm and right leg, are detachable. And because of how 01 breaks down himself, you can swap those parts out as well to approximate, or as they say, approximate the shooting wolf form, even though that's not quite right. Yeah, and they even give you a spread of what you can expect so far for this. The only thing they added this week was Biting Shark. And once more, plenty of painted details, not a lot of stickering. It's using the same like base body you see in the first lot and adds on the parts. The only difference is the stickering required doesn't make the bodies interchangeable because of how the 01 armor pieces slide in the show for the form changes. But this blog post also detailed their Soto Chronicle line, now covering O's, and it covers the first 4 forms, I guess. Tatoba, Gatakiriba, Latrata, and Sagozo. They all look gorgeous. All the parts are interchangeable, so you can make all the random combos between them as you want. Yeah. The only downside is, because of how they're packed, if you buy the set that is 1 box apiece, which I don't... Okay, it has it broke down here. Essentially, if you bought a set with this breakdown of 1 of these apiece, you cannot make Tatoba without having the cannibalized parts from Latrata and Gatakiriba. But if you buy the box version, it gives you an extra of, I believe, the Taka box, the bottom half of the Gatkirba box, and then the middle, the head and arms portion of the Latrata box. So then you can make Tatoba, Gatkirba, Latrata, and Sagozo with you only having an extra Taka head and Tora head. Which, interesting enough, you can paint those eyes purple, and you get purple eyes O's if you want.
Ooh.
And as I noted on the Soto podcast when I commented, the extra Tora head, you can paint the eyes purple too for that one, because all of the forms besides Tajador had purple eyes variants. It's only the Tatoba one that the eyes stuck. The rest of them just flashed when they were using the axe. As far as we know, stickers are not included for that, so you have to provide your own paint to make that. But that's an option. These are 4-inch figures that are pretty cheap. Like, I believe you're looking at $20 for a full set of figures, or approximately, depending on which set you're talking about.
Which, that's not too bad.
Yeah. This is these kind of toys in Japan are the kind of toys you would see at a convenience store on the counter that you would just buy a box of for $4 while you're checking out. Yeah, the only other thing to note from those combo change stuff is that you do get an on-hand that looks very mushy in its detail. But like I said, this is a 4-inch scale. You can't cram that many details in here at that size. And they noted that they are doing a combo change too, which will be Tajador, Shishota, and Putotera. And that will come out next year. This comes out in December. The 0-1 set actually comes out the start of next month, or at the very least next month. And the 0-1 set, it's not done revealing stuff yet, and I'm assuming it will be 0-1 Vulcan Valkyrie and I assume maybe Biting Shark, but I think the website has 5 slots for this, so we might be getting another 0-1 form change as well. Or a Vulcan form change. I'm not sure. They still haven't said that this is the entire thing for AI-01. All they've really noted is that in this box, it will be 1-to-1 for the bodies and the armors. So when you buy the complete box, you will have an extra body to do both Rising Hopper and Biting Shark. You will not have to part swap between the two, because that's something they've done for the last couple years. Other than that, the bottom part, much like the blog, is just detailing the candy toy versions of the Progrise keys. Not the most relevant information, but it's there because that's under the candy toy umbrella. Yeah, I've always been on the outside looking in for Soto since it got announced during Xaid. And the breadth and depth of its content has always impressed me. It is not a joke to consider that Soto would do the 0-1 Shooting Wolf form that I showed you a couple weeks ago. That is an extremely likely possibility, alongside the Punching Kong form that was shown off in the episode summaries this week for the What If form. They could do that because they've done stuff like that before. That is, they did all 20 Heisei Rider armors even though we only got like maybe half of them in the show. They had no reason to do it, but they did. They did every single decade armor variation. All of them.
Jeez.
Yeah, all the ones that have official design, including the Fies one that's a Boot of a Soul exclusive. Like, they even did Mirror Geo as a figure you can buy. Because they could. So it is not a joke to wonder, oh, are they going to do 01 Shooting Wolf? Probably if they have slots open. Yeah, I think for me, like, these two lines might be my first introduction to Soto, because I'm seriously considering picking up this first set for 01, since it will cover kind of the basics of 01 and the O's one, because I'm not gonna lie, having all of the main O's combos together would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it kind of would.
It would also be for those crazy people that buy several dozen copies of Gatsukiriba to make the Gatsukiriba finisher. You can do that. Yeah, that's all I had. I just wanted to talk about Soto because I don't really have anything else to talk about besides Ash won a league in an episode I haven't watched because I did not keep up with the Sun and Moon anime. As much as
I didn't either.
Yeah, as much as good things I've heard about it, I just didn't keep up with it. Or I didn't watch it. I kept up with it in the peripheral and in terms of, oh, this happened, according to Twitter, or oh, this thing is here. But other than that, yeah, that's all I got. You don't have a quick draw, correct?
Right.
All right, so that, I guess, will do it for us this week. Tomorrow is the first episode of our look at Forza for TGSR. Oh boy, I can't wait. We are diving into the super unknown here. Well, Tommy is. I'm not. We have yet to cover something that I am not blind to. Oh, covered something that I am blind to, mind you. Not blind to. I am actually blind to. And then this next week is more Super Climax Heroes, more Fire Emblem 3 Houses. We are making the big choice this next week. Oh boy, the big choice. I don't know what to say. Friday will be...
I guess we'll do Minish Cap again.
Try to go back to Minish Cap, see if we can get it done.
Oh, I'm sure we're not going to get it done.
Get closer to get it done.
That maybe.
Yeah. And Saturday will be Rampant Gaming of something.
Yeah, we'll kind of just wing that one.
Yeah. It'll bring us back around to more Forza in the next week. So for Tommy, peace. Good night, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.